Okay, taking those thumbnails is seriously like dangerous for my books. Today I'm going to be hauling some books. This is not going to include the books that I got in my recent Come Book Shopping With Me video. I will link that down below in the description. That's got its own book haul at the end of that video, so won't be including those books. So my mental health has not been great, and so I've been buying a lot of books. It's a vicious cycle, you know what I'm saying? And I thought I would share them with you today. Most of these are fantasy romance, but I have some, I don't know, like regular fantasy books, some cozy fantasy books. I do have like a middle grade in here too. Let's just go ahead and get into this video. So the first book I have here is Zodiac Academy. This is the 6th book in the series, Fated Throne. This is by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valente. So I have read the first 5 books in this series. I need to continue on in this series. I'm kind of terrified to do so. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I mean, I know I'm going to continue on, but I'm definitely just kind of scared. This is about these 2 sisters. They're twins. They find out one day that they are Fae and are sent to the Fae realm, and they go to this school called the Zodiac Academy, and they are bullied by these 4 males who are supposed to be like the future leaders of the kingdom in place of these 2 girls, because they find out that they are actually the long-lost princesses. That kind of puts these 4 males and our 2 heroines at odds with each other, and it goes from there. So it's a bully romance, and it's very much like a CW drama with a good amount of spice. Yeah, there's multiple romances, there's multiple things going on. It's very dramatic. It will rip your heart out. I can't describe why I love it, but I do. I read the first 5 books so fast, and then I haven't touched any since. I think like my heart basically got ripped out at the end of the 5th book, and I just don't know what to do with myself. Okay, next I have here 2 books from the same series. This is book 2 and 3 in the, what is this series called? It's the first book is To Bleed a Crystal Bloom. So I'm not sure if the series has like a name, but the first book is To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, and this is book 2 and 3, To Snap a Silver Stem and To Flame a Wild Flower. I've read the 2nd book. I just finished it. 6 stars. I'm obsessed with this series, to be honest. I need to read book 3. That's this baby right here. This is a Rapunzel retelling, but it's a very dark fantasy romance. It's very problematic, very toxic, and it's also quite gory as well. So I really like it. I love how unique it is, and I've really loved diving into this world. I love the world Sarah Parker has created. It's just really, really good. I can't say enough good things. I get that it's not for everyone because it's, like I said, a very toxic romance. But if you're okay with a dark, toxic romance, and you like really good world building in a fantasy romance, then you might want to check out this series. I give the first book 5 stars. The 2nd book I gave 6 stars, which is basically me saying it's like a top tier 5-star. I only give out like 6 or 7 of those maybe a year. Basically, it's, yeah, a favorite of the year for me. Okay, the next book I have here is North Queen by Nicola Teisch. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, but this is actually going to be the Spelled by Romance book club book pick for December. We're going to be doing live reading sprints. I got Tori from Tori Between Pages and Katie from Katie's Book Nook joining me for reading sprints in December. The date is not decided yet, I don't believe, but it's usually like the 2nd or 3rd, either Friday or Saturday of the month. We'll just have to see. So this book, our heroine is Princess Nora. She's been hidden away because there's like this evil shadow king that her kingdom is at war with. So her father's hidden her away, but when he dies, like no one knows where she's hidden. And so she's kind of like lost for years. And then when they finally find her 3 years later, she has lost her memory. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know she's a princess. Like the responsibility of the whole kingdom lies on her shoulders. And yeah, it sounds like they're kind of like shit out of luck. And I guess the commander of the army of her kingdom, like her and him had a whole thing like many years back, but when she comes back, she doesn't remember him. So it's like an amnesia trope. Like I said, I've not really read much of that trope before, but she loves him. He also loves the kingdom, and they need to like rule it together somehow. And she doesn't remember that or remember him. And it sounds like things are quite complicated. I think this book is supposed to be like snowy and cold and vibes, so I think it's going to be perfect for December. Okay, next I have a favorite series of mine. It's just the first 3 books. I still have to get the 4th book in the series. That's the Plated Prisoner series. So the first one is Geld, and then there's Glint, and then Gleam. I'll just hold up the first one right here, but this is a King Midas retelling. Heroine is not very likable, honestly, when you first start this book. She basically has Stockholm Syndrome. King Midas has her trapped in a gilded cage. She is his pet. She's been gold touched by him, so she's all gold, everything, but like I think the whites of her eyes and maybe her teeth are gold. She's just kind of like drinking away her days, being his pet. And the first book in the series is not really a romance. It's just kind of more like a prequel. So I would definitely treat it, if you're going to the series, treat Guild as a prequel. I think I gave it 3 stars, and then I gave every other book in the series 5 stars. So if that tells you anything, the series gets really good. It's just, yeah, this is definitely a prequel. There's no romance, but it tells you like how she got where she got and what she's going through and everything like that. I love this series. It's a very character-driven series. It's also really fun to read in the winter because they're mostly in like northern kingdoms that are quite cold. There's a lot of like the found family trope and growth for the characters. The character growth in this is amazing. The love story is so epic. I adore this series. I can't wait for book 5. Apparently there's actually now going to be a book 6. I don't know how I feel about that. I get it based on the way book 4 ended. I personally think it could be finished in 1 book if it's like a long book. I don't know how I feel about it being 6 books long, to be honest. I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted, but I'm obsessed with the series. It's definitely one of my favorite fantasy romance series of all time. Okay, so the last fantasy romance I got was yesterday. I got Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. It came out yesterday. I had an Amazon pre-order. It's got sprayed edges. I'm not a big sprayed edges person, to be honest. I think it's just, they're fine. It's fine. But I am very excited for this book. Like, I'm not so excited that I'm like everyone else, like having to read it the day it comes out. I'm reading 2 other books. I'll finish those first and maybe a couple other books. I will eventually get to this book, but it may be December when I get to it. I'm sure you guys know what Fourth Wing is about. This is the sequel to Fourth Wing. There's gonna be 5 books in the series. The way the first book ended was obviously a huge cliffhanger. I'm very excited to find out what happens next. Okay, the rest of the books I have after this one are like more fantasy. They do have some romance subplots in them, but this is the last like fantasy romance that I have on my book haul. And that is Between Wrath and Mercy by Jess Weisskopf. I read this in a vlog. I will have that vlog linked down below. It's where Jess from Honest Fiction took over my TBR and I read some popular fantasy romance books. Gave this one 5 stars. I loved this book. I really liked how the heroine was an older heroine. She was an adult who had a child. She was in hiding with her child because her child is basically fated to be kidnapped, taken away because of a special ability that she has. One day her daughter is kidnapped. She goes to her ex-flame to try to help her get her daughter back. And this is a second chance romance between the 2 of them. Loved it. Adored it. Really can't wait to continue on in the series. The second book is out. The third one is coming out soon, I believe. So very excited to continue on in the series. Really happy to own myself a copy of the first one. Okay, so next I have the 4th Brandon Sanderson book for his like year of Brandon Sanderson. And this one I think is actually related to Stormlight. It follows a certain character from Stormlight. So I'm really excited about that. I haven't even opened this all the way. Like, it still has this wrapping on it. Again, I don't know how I feel about sprayed edges. I just don't think they always come out very well. And I also, I mean, I guess it's fine because this is also leather bound, and I was gonna say, like, I like leather bounds. I care much more about the quality of the binding and the quality of the cover as opposed to like what the end papers look like, you know? And this is beautiful. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Really, ooh, oh my gosh. I need to reread me some Stormlight. I've been thinking about doing a reread. Who wants to reread Stormlight with me? Because I might do it. Maybe do it on Discord or something. Editing Hannah here. So that's actually now been scheduled. I chatted with some friends in the Hideaway Discord, and we are going to be doing a Stormlight read-along starting in January. So if you are interested in joining us, just go ahead and check out the Hideaway Discord. We'll be reading Stormlight together, and I will be doing live shows as well. Oh my gosh. Very excited to have this. Next, I have one that I actually did get book shopping from my book shopping video, but I forgot to haul it at the end, and that is A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. This is the first book in a duology. I think this is a fairy tale retelling or inspired by folklore. And I know my friend Isa from Fun Fantasy Books has recommended this book to me and to her viewers repeatedly. I think it's kind of a very me book. Soft magic system, a folktale or fairy tale retelling with beautiful writing and some high atmosphere. And that's a very me type of book. I don't know really anything about this book other than that. And I kind of want to go into it semi-blind, so we're just going to leave it at that. Another beautiful atmospheric book that I've heard really good things about, that is The Witch and the Tsar by Olesia Salnikova Gilmore. And this is a Baba Yaga retelling. I love Slavic retellings. This book is probably going to be a really good book to read in the wintertime. And I think this book follows Baba Yaga. And I don't know if maybe she's younger or something. It says that in this stunning debut novel, the maligned and immortal witch of legend known as Baba Yaga will risk all to save her country and her people from Tsar Ivan the Terrible and the dangerous gods who seek to drive the twisted hearts of men. So I loved The Bear and the Nightingale, and I'm hoping this kind of gives me more of those types of vibes. Okay, so this one you might be kind of confused about because obviously I already own this book, but this is The Lord of the Rings. But I've lost my paper, not lost, it got destroyed. My paper book that I read, like my paperback version that I read when I was much, much younger. And so I needed a new paperback version because I want to read this book, but I have my really nice version up here. Right here, but I don't want to read that one, so I wanted to get a paperback that I can just very comfortably be able to read. And there was two, I like to read it as like a whole book instead of like separate ones, and they had two options at Barnes & Noble, but one was like thicker, and so I chose this one. I think it feels very comfortable in my hands. I've already read this. This is Lord of the Rings. I'm sure you already know about it. It's about Frodo and him going on an adventure after he's been handed down a ring of power by his uncle. So yeah, I want to reread this. I think I might do like a books I want to reread in 2024 video. I don't know, because I have some books I really want to reread, and I don't reread a lot of books, and I think I need to bring some magic back into my reading. And I think maybe doing some rereads might help. I'm not sure, but this is definitely a book that I want to reread. I adore this book, but it's been so long since I've read it. Okay, here we have another atmospheric, magical, forest setting type of book because I am me. And that's what I'm going to get if I see something like that at the bookstore. This is After the Forest by Kel Woods. Oh my gosh, and on the back it says, ginger, honey, cinnamon, flower, a drop of blood to bind its power. So this is a Hansel and Gretel retelling. Thank you. Thank you. I've never seen one of those, and this looks amazing. So Greta and Hans are struggling to get by. Greta, I think, sells her cakes, like these ginger cakes, I believe, or her gingerbread. And the village that they live near is like super superstitious. There's a dark magic returning to the woods, and they have to somehow save the day. I'm just very, very excited about this one. I think that this is going to be a really cool book to read this time of year. And I love fairy tale retellings, and a Hansel and Gretel retelling is not something I've seen, and that just seems so exciting to me. Okay, so next here I have Bookshops in Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, which I adored. I loved Legends and Lattes. And yeah, this is basically how Viv learned about coffee when she worked at a bookshop for a short period of time, just telling us a little bit more about Viv and her backstory. And I'm very excited to learn about her and experience more that Travis can offer. I love his writing. I thought that the Legends and Lattes, which is so cozy, and I've heard that this book is just very, very good, and just more Legends and Lattes. And I'm definitely going to have to read this winter. Last but not least, I have Green Wild by Perry Thompson. This is a middle grade, and I don't read a lot of middle grade, but this is about forest and plant magic, so I had to get it. Oh my gosh, guys, the back cover. See, now you guys know why I had to get it. Oh my gosh, look at that. Ooh, I didn't even see that. This is beautiful. Oh my goodness. How fun. Can I live here, please? Please, can I live here? So this is about 11-year-old Daisy, and she's being hunted by someone who's determined to stop her from discovering the truth. Oh, the chase will lead her through a hidden doorway to another world. I love a portal fantasy. This is going to be a place bursting with magic and enchantment. It's called Greenwild, and it's full of astonishing natural wonders. This land of green magic seems too strange to be real. And it also holds the key to finding her mother. So she has to band together with a botanical genius, this boy who can talk to animals, and a cat with attitude. Oh my gosh. This sounds amazing. This sounds so good. Okay, so that's it. Those are the books that I have hauled recently. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below in the comments which books I should prioritize, if you've read any of these, if you have any other suggestions for me. If you don't know what to comment, you can just comment a book emoji. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. All of my social media, including my Etsy shop and my Patreon, is all linked down below in the description. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Gravel road, I've been asked to slow down. Fireplace, do you